Here we go. So it looks like we are going live over here. I'm going to pop over on my other setup to see how we're doing. Redirecting. All right. So it looks like we should be live over here. And I'm going to pull this up so that I can see anyone watching. All right. Make sure we've got, oh, we have everyone. This is so exciting. All right. I just got really pumped. I have to like bring my energy back in. All right. Here we go. And I saw a quick comment that I want to make sure I get to. Okay. So we are live. I'm really excited. Thank you all for joining us for So Ask Us this week. We have 3 guests, which is the most number I have had. I feel super popular, I'm not gonna lie. Today we're talking with Yosola and Angela and Nina. Hi. So if you guys wanna unmute, we're gonna see how the sound goes if everybody's unmuted so that y'all can say hi. Hey.
Hi. Hi.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. Well, we're gonna get a little feedback now. I knew it.
Okay, should we
We'll
mute?
just see. Let's mute, and if I go like this, I can't hear you talking. Okay. Awesome. So I'm really excited to be talking with the 3 of you today. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. For everyone watching, Angela, Nina, and Yosola are local entrepreneurs, students. They're starting up a business that we're going to talk about called the Black Room, which is really fascinating. We're going to talk about the experience of being a student and a human during the pandemic. And that is actually where I want to start. We were just joking before we got on here. We're just going to talk about light stuff, global pandemics, no big deal. So, so Angela, I'm going to start with you, and then I want to go around to everyone. What has this pandemic experience been like for you? Tell us where you are, where are you talking to us from, and what's going on in your life?
So I live in Holyoke. I live near the Mount Tom area. Okay. And the pandemic has been a wild ride, especially from the start when we didn't know what was going on. It was just like stay at home. We didn't have much info. All of a sudden school was online and it was pretty crazy. But I think now that I've gotten into the rhythm of everything and, you know, we have a lot more information and we can understand. It's been going really well for me. You know, spend a lot of time with myself, learning about my family. And it's been pretty good. School online has been not stressful as much as school in person was. So yeah, it's pretty good.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I have a follow-up question, but I'm going to keep going around. Nina, where are you talking to us from and how are you feeling?
I'm talking to you guys from my home in Northampton. The whole pandemic, it's been like a wild ride because it all started in April when like school closed, and then we moved houses. So then I stayed in New Jersey with my aunt, and then just a few months ago I came back.
Okay.
So yeah, now we're fixing up this house because we just moved in.
Got it. This is an intense time to move during. So you're like resettling in. Okay. All right. I have a follow-up question to that too. Yosola, where are you talking to us from and how are you?
I'm good. I'm talking from Nantucket, Massachusetts. I live down the street from Angela actually. So I'm sorry, my friend's dog just walked in. Everything has been good. The pandemic, well, it was very shocking to me. We didn't know, I didn't know at the time, like what was happening. I was like, what? And then we moved to online school.
Right.
For me, that was pretty stressful because I do better in-person learning than online learning. But I handled it pretty well. Thankfully, I get to go back in September, but of course, using like safety precautions, of course. But everything has been good. I got to know like more about me, and I got to spend time with my mom more, and I got to talk to my friends more. So it's been pretty good.
Nice. That's good to hear. Good, pretty good. I mean, I feel like you all are navigating it with a lot of grace and just kind of moving with it. And Yosola and Angela, you both touched on something that I want to ask about, which is, I feel like, and maybe I'm assuming, it's been a while since I was a teenager. We're not going to talk about how long, it's fine. But you both touched on spending a lot of time with yourself. And I feel like that's something sometimes that later in life, we start to be like, I need to know myself better. I need to spend more time alone. I need to like really get to be one with myself. And I feel like a lot of people right now are being pushed into a space with themselves earlier than they might have been. And I'm curious if it feels that way to the three of you, and anyone who wants to start can start, but does it feel like you are sort of in a space with yourself a little sooner than you might have been?
Yeah, I think that the pandemic has really forced me to obviously forced me to be with myself a lot. And I think that over the past couple months, I've really like matured. I think that I've really realized some of my downfalls, specifically in school. I think not being in school, it lets you be able to think about like, okay, while I was in school, what were my issues? What were my strong suits? What can I do better when I go back to school? You're forced to like, even though you're at home, your social life becomes, a lot because that's all you're doing. There's nothing really else to do. So I think that like in a social aspect, I've also come to terms like, what are my downfalls? How can I be a better friend? How can I talk to my friends about them being better friends? How can I, and I think it's just learning about myself, what I like, what I don't like. And it's been a really interesting time.
Yeah. Yosola, Nina, what about you?
Mine is similar to Angela, like a lot of self-reflection and like, also about my mental state. Like sometimes that can be very hard. Like, it's been very interesting, like getting to know, like taking time to reflect on me, because I mainly focus more on other people than I do myself. So this actually gave me time to reflect on, how am I doing? Am I okay? I have been doing pretty okay in that department, but just also getting to know my friends more. Like I thought I knew my friends so well, and then you just learn more about them every day, even online. Like, it's hard not seeing them every day. Of course, like online school, that was very sad for me because this is my last year at my school, and then I have to go to a different school. So, saying goodbye to some of my classmates who are leaving online, that was kind of hard for me, but I still keep in touch with them, thankfully. And, it's tough, but I dealt with it, and it's not like I'm never going to see them again, but also just getting to know other people more and getting to know myself more, that was very helpful to me. And, what I can work on for myself, and how I can work on being a better person, like Angela said, and being a better friend, and how my friends can do that in return. So that was just
so crucial. Yeah. Nina, what about you? How has it been spending more time by yourself?
It's been pretty different. I've been spending a lot of time both working on my mental and physical health.
Yeah.
I have been just I think this morning. Yeah, I did some yoga this morning. I've been doing yoga regularly. And
Nice.
I've also started doing running. I'm practicing for my cross country in the fall. And that has really like calmed me down and centered me a little bit.
Yeah, nice. Oh, it's so important. It's so wonderful to hear from the three of you, just because everybody is having all of these fascinating, same but different experiences. I feel like humanity is just doing this right now all the time, like coming together and relating, and then also being on totally different ends of things, right? So I know Angela and Nina, you're both going into 10th grade, right? And Yosola, you're going into 9th grade. And are classes staying online for the three of you, or are you going back in person? And can you tell us where you go to school when you talk about what's happening with your schooling? Yosola, do you want to start?
Yeah. So my school is a private school. I go to school in Deerfield. We are going back to in-person learning, but we have to wear masks all day, and
all day.
we do have to get tested before we go back. Yeah, and we have to get tested before we go back. And they're going to do like a screening for us, like our parents are, before we get to school and see like if we have any symptoms, if we have, the dry cough or like anything like that.
Yeah.
So they're doing that. They're doing it pretty well, but also in like the winter, I don't know if other schools had this happen, but like the flu went around.
Yeah.
But for my school, they didn't say it was the flu. They said it was flu-like symptoms, but I don't want to say it was corona, but I think personally it might have been corona. But like a lot of kids were out sick, so I think the chances of it happening might be low, but I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to go back. I did miss school, and I did miss my friends, and like I said, it's my last year here, so I'm very lucky to like be able to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. Angela, what about you? What's planned where you're at school?
So I'm gonna be honest, I am not the best at reading school emails. So so I am not really, I know that we have 3 different plan options. It's either completely out of school, completely in school, or half in, half out.
Right.
We did a poll online, like what we thought the students. I voted completely online. I think that's the safest. I don't feel comfortable going to school. I go to school in Hatfield. I go to Smith Academy. It's a really small town, and I think that with small towns specifically, when one person gets COVID, it's gonna go around. Right. So I don't feel comfortable going back to school, and I think that if we do go back to school, I'll just do BHS, which is, just keep it online, just because I think that's best for me and my family. But yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy with being online. No real issue.
Totally. Nina, what about you? What's planned where you are?
I go to the Pioneer Valley Chinese Immersion Charter School in Hadley, and I have not gotten any emails from administration yet. Okay. So I still do not know what's happening exactly.
All right. Do you have a preference or what you hope will happen?
I hope that it's like half in, half out.
Yeah.
Even though, I don't know, because like risk of the virus, but also it's easier for me because like when it's just online, it's kind of easy to just like slack off and like only pay attention like half. But if I'm going into if I'm going into school like twice or 3 times a week, then I'll like have to get the stuff done right when it's due.
Keeps you grounded in it. It's so interesting to me that with these, we have 3 good friends on here and you all feel completely different. Yosola's all in, Angela's in her own space, and Nina's like, I need both. That's awesome. It's really like so indicative, I think, of all the different ways that people are navigating this right now. Thank you all for your honesty around it. So let's see. Oh, ooh, people are watching. See, I told you people would jump on and watch. We're saying hi to Faye. Hi, Nina. It's Nana Faye is watching. Amelia's watching. She says, hi, guys. You're all so mature. Truth. And Shannon's watching. Great job, women. Yes. Thank you all so much for signing on and watching. Anyone out there, if you have questions, please feel free to send them in. We four already had an opportunity to talk about how this space is a conversation flow. It's not just questions from me. So I'll invite the audience into that as well. This is not just questions from me. This is questions and comments from everyone. So please feel free to shoot them my way, and I will share them with everybody on here. So as you look ahead to going back to school, your life shifting again, you've all been learning online for the last 3 months, I think we said, leading into this. What do you anticipate will kind of shift as far as how you're able to divide your attention between school and maybe other things that have really pulled your interest in the last 3 months? And I know we're going to get into talking more about your business and much more about Black Lives Matter as a movement. Are there other things that have kind of come into your life lately that you're wanting to hold on to and bring into the balance of school and activism? And Angela, I'll start with you.
So over the course of the pandemic, Yosola and I have spent like every day together because we live so close to each other. So we've been together pretty much every day. And we've gotten into like a lot of stuff. We've been playing tennis. We've had a lot of conversations about our thoughts and like Black Lives Matter, and while all these protests were happening, like really riots, we were watching, them on TV, and we've been super into that stuff, and we've both been having a lot of conversations about it. And Nina as well, when we had our business dinner, and Nina started coming over a lot, and we've just all been together really a lot and just having conversations about it and inspiring each other.
Yes. Oh, that's so good. That's rad that you all have each other in your lives right now. But Nina, how about you? Are there things, I know you mentioned yoga, are there other things that have come into your life that you're like, I'm going to hold on to this. This is good.
Yeah, running. I usually run probably every day.
Wow.
It's like, there's like a 5K route that I do. I start at the dog park and I go around and then run back home with my dog. It's really fun, and it like really calms me down and gets me like fit, instead of, because I used to be spending a lot of time on the couch watching TV before I started running.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's been really fun. And also hanging out with these two, because yeah, they're really inspiring to me and they're really good friends.
Yes. Yosola, want to add anything?
So like they both said, we've been spending a lot of time with each other. So I'm very glad to like gotten to know them more, even though like Angela and I are really, really close. Like we're relatives. So like I even got to learn more about her.
Yeah.
So, and more about Nina as well. So that's been very cool to me. That's something I want to work on more too, just getting to know people more, because I know that like, oh, you're best friends, like you know them, like I know them, but I can know them more.
Yeah.
But also just working on my mental health more, because that's something I kind of neglected.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that, mentally I haven't been the best. So thankfully I'm working on it and getting better now. But, just keeping that in mind and not like in the back is something that I like to keep, that I would like to keep. And also just training more. Since I dance, I have to stay in like really good shape. So I dance like 16 hours a week roughly. So just keeping on stretching and like working on it is something that I need to do and that I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun. And just like things like that. I want to keep on doing, like staying in mental good health and physical good health, so that I'm proud of who I and that I like who I am, and that no, that doesn't change.
Yes, absolutely. Nice. So we've kind of touched a little bit on, so let's dive into talking about the business that y'all are starting up, because I think that it is a direct response not only to what's happening culturally and emotionally right now, but also it seems like really having the space for the three of you to explore what's important to you. What has grown out of that is that having your own business and being able to drive that vehicle where you need it to go has been really valuable as well. So let me start, Yosola, with you. Can you tell us about the business that the three of you are starting? What is it called? And kind of what is the shape of it? What is it about?
Okay, so we have a business called The Black Room. You guys can find us on Instagram at The Black Room 2020. So we had a business dinner with my mom, and who is also our investor. So we had a business dinner, and we made a plan. We were like, okay, so we need to do this, we need to do this. We came out with a theme, and we were all on board. Like, it was a very good idea. Like, we all made the concept all together. So I think that's why it's such like a good, strong foundation, that we all made it together, and it's something that we love, and that we're proud of. And it also symbolizes, the Black Lives Matter. And it's not just, putting a sign in your front lawn. I mean, that's great, but there's more that you could do.
Yes.
There's more that you can do to symbolize that. So we're going to different businesses and homes and decorating them of any theme that has to tie in with Black history and culture. So yeah, and it's very fun. We did the Jersey barriers in Amherst, and it says TBR on the bottom, so it's us. And I absolutely love them. My friends have seen it, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's so good. And so you can check it.
Nice. And Angela, can you tell us, before we jumped on, you were showing us a couple of things in the room that you're in that's indicative of what you're trying to do with the business, which is encouraging people to surround themselves with artwork, with photos of thought leaders and influencers, to really create a space that starts conversation, helps you really feel connected to your Blackness, to your heritage. Can you share a little with us what is in the room you're in, and also what's important to you about the business that you all have?
Yeah, so as we talked about earlier, we were talking about Black rooms that we have in our house, and my house is like a Black room house. It's like a Black house. It's I have where there's just a lot of stuff everywhere, but just immediately close to me, we have some statues that I think my mom picked up from some African countries. We have, I don't know if you can see it like that. Can you see it? A tapestry up there?
Yes, above the fireplace.
We have some really beautiful artwork in the house. We have this little guy. We have like just with his little bongo drum, we just have a lot of beautiful artwork in here that symbolizes Blackness. And it's really important to have that kind of stuff in your house. I think it connects you not only to your Blackness, but as being a white ally or any other race as an ally, it can connect you to the message, and it can connect you to, because, we all came from East Africa. So it's like, it connects you to your roots either way. And it's really important, for us all to be together and togetherness. And I think having symbols of each other's culture in our homes. Really
Yes, I love that. I think that is such a crucial point that you bring up, because I think that there sometimes can be a little bit of a feeling in the movement of, as a white person, we don't know where to plug in necessarily. And I think the encouragement, what you guys are doing with the Black Room is saying that having this culture and representation in your home is a human connection. It's really
Yeah.
understanding that we all have cultural heritage that is worth celebrating and bringing into our daily life, which is awesome.
And I think a lot with mixed people, which Nina and I are both mixed, there can be a lot of confusion, and there can be a lot of which side am I on? You know, where does my culture, where does my heritage come from? Because it's when you grow up in an environment where you're around people of both races, or when you're only around one race, a lot of the times there can be a feeling that you don't belong, or there can be a feeling that you don't know where you belong. And I think that this whole ongoing Black Lives Matter and all that stuff has really brought, and I'm sure that I'm speaking for Nina too, brought us closer to our Black side and closer to our history, and made us feel like we belong somewhere. And like even white allies made us, everyone feel included, because we're all a part of this bigger meaning, which is Black Lives Matter, Black history, Black culture, you know, stand up for what's right.
Yes, absolutely. Nina, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, I'm trying to form my own Black room, because like it's been pretty difficult because I'm only surrounded by like my white relatives. Like I live with me and my mom. So yeah, I have some pieces from trips that like my grandma and my aunt went on to Africa, and they've given me some of those pieces. So yeah, it's been pretty hard, especially like with this like movement and everyone's talking about it. I've had more conversations with my dad about race, and it's given me like a new perspective on this whole thing.
Yeah. Can you share with us like one thing that feels new to you in your own perspective? Are you comfortable?
Yeah. Like in my new perspective, it's like I didn't realize how like bad it was for people of color out there, because yeah, my dad was like telling me about his experiences, and me being only surrounded by like my mom who's white and like other white people, I thought that I was like, I didn't really think about how horrible it is. But now with this movement and talking with like my Black relatives, I really have like a new perspective.
Yeah, and feeling more connected to that. That's
Yeah.
great that it's brought up these conversations. And I feel like that is a major underpinning of why your business, the Black Room, is important, because it creates room for conversation and impulse for conversation in people's homes that might open up a dialogue that otherwise wouldn't have gotten opened up. And I know you are focusing on homes, and then you also mentioned businesses. How do you see helping businesses bring this same thing into their spaces? Yosola, you brought businesses up. Do you want to share a little bit how you see the Black Room supporting businesses in this process?
Yeah, so like just different businesses, what they can do is just, just decorating them, and like instead of just saying like Black Lives Matter in the window, you know, you could have like pictures of Black people, or you could have paragraphs about Black people. You could, you know, like pictures. But I think that businesses supporting businesses is it's like a good thing to have, even without the pandemic. You know, supporting each other and supporting everyone in your community is really the best thing that you can do. And I mean, and supporting Black businesses, especially now, is something that is really, really helpful. And, you know, that says that you're an ally and you're there for them and you can help them. So yeah, that's my perspective on it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I agree. I think that local business, I mean, as we tie together all the different things that are happening right now and try to wrap our arms around all of it, supporting locally in these different ways is absolutely crucial. I couldn't agree more. Angela, anything you want to add about businesses versus home and how we kind of make all of the spaces the Black rooms that we are looking for?
Yeah, I think that with businesses specifically, having the Black room, having Black history and Black culture in your business is not only showing that you're an ally, but it's also pulling in another demographic. If you're in a predominantly white area and people find out that you're supporting Black Lives Matter and that you're having Black symbols and Black power in your restaurant, in your store, whatever you are, you're pulling in another demographic. Personally, if I find out that somewhere in Hadley that there is a place that I can go and I feel really comfortable and I feel welcome there and I feel that they stand for me and my family, I'm going to take the drive. I'm going to go there. So I think that it's really important, and I think that it's making everyone feel appreciated and loved.
Yes. Oh, that was so well said. I think that that is such a wonderful point to draw out. And not just from a perspective of, you know, your business can make more money or be successful, even though those things are important, but that your business then becomes a hub for people. It becomes a place that everyone knows they can be. That inclusivity that people talk about so much. I feel like inclusiveness becomes a little bit of a buzzword. And what you all are talking about with the Black Room is physicalizing the idea of inclusivity when it's on the wall, when it's in the space physically through art and pictures and words. It just, the space vibrates in a different way with this sense of what we're trying to build in the larger world almost. So that's so cool that that is coming through your business. I've seen a couple questions pop up over here, so I'm going to stop talking for a second and come over. I saw a question from Shannon. What is the next project? So we four all got to paint the Jersey barriers together in downtown Amherst, which was really fun. And you all are also trying to take your business to the next level of consulting. Do you have projects in the works or places that you're working on right now that you can share about? Yosola?
Yeah, so we definitely have projects that are coming up. We just finished our website last night.
Yeah,
so you can definitely check us out there. It is in the chat, in the Zoom chat.
I will post it on Facebook.
So yes, so we definitely have projects coming up. We have 2 home projects coming up, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, we're all very excited about that. But so far that's what we have. And then, you know, with school coming up, we kind of have to balance it out. So we might do like 1 project a month roughly. And so yeah, that's all the.
Nice, very cool. And you bring up a really good point that I think all business owners deal with, which is that lovely work-life balance that we talk about. So, I mean, as you look ahead to going back to school, are there ways you feel like you can bring your business life and your business brain together with your school life and your school brain so that you have time and energy, as we're talking about mental health, to do all of it? How do you keep that balance? Angela or Nina, do you want to? Yeah, Angela, I see you going for that mute.
I think that for me, I make a time, even during school, I make it important to see my friends. I make time to see my friends. The weekends, sometimes you go home, you do your homework. After school, you see your friends. You do your homework in school, so you can see your friends. I think that if we treat the business as the same that we treat seeing our friends when speaking in the prioritizing, if we treat it the same way, I think that we can get a whole lot of work done, the same amount that we're getting done now. As long as we prioritize it. And, you know, high school can be very, very stressful and very difficult, but I think it also allows us to be a lot more independent than it did, middle school, elementary school. And as long as we are budgeting our time, and as long as we are thinking, okay, I'm going to do this assignment now, and then after school, I'm going to go do black room work for an hour, 2 hours, and I'm going to go back to this. As long as we're working together as a group, and there's 3 of us, between the 3 of us, I think that we're going to do really well. I think that I'm really excited about it.
Nice. That's awesome. I know you all definitely did a smart thing by starting a business with people you like. So you can have an easier time going to work and seeing each other. Nina, what about you? How do you see your business projects fitting in with school and running and yoga and all the balance?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty difficult, but as long as I like block out the time, I'm gonna have like time to do it, because like after running and on the weekends, I'm gonna have free time. And yeah, there I can work on the black room.
Nice. That's awesome. So I'm looking for other questions. I hope I'm not missing anyone out there who's asking. I don't see any, so I'm going to ask another one because I have so many. So one thing that I think is important to talk about, and we got into it just a little bit before we went live with everyone, is, your business is really in response to this next wave, re-upping of the Black Lives Matter movement. And that movement is, I think, happening in a way that feels very intense right now, and is a lot of different reactions are happening in different people. And so as this movement continues to permeate our culture, which is so crucial, there's business, there's school. What feels really important to each of you in being responsive to the Black Lives Matter movement and keeping it in the conversation? Is your business for you the best way to do that? And are there other ways that you feel empowered to keep this conversation alive every day? Angela, do you want to speak? Yeah.
Yeah, so I personally have gone to some protests. I have always been very, very vocal about my feelings about the Black Lives Matter movement because I'm Black. I feel that it is so, so, so important for us to have our voices heard. It is so important for people to stir up conversation, because when the problem comes from within the system, the only way to stop it is from the outside. Because systemic racism, the issue of systemic racism and mass incarceration and the police brutality in Black communities and the over-policing and all those kinds of things come from within the system. So if us as citizens of the United States from outside the system don't try to make a difference and try to change stuff and protest and make our voices heard, nothing's going to happen, because at the end of the day, the benefits of all these horrible, heinous things going on always go to the people in power. So if we don't shut that down, then they're not going to stop it, because it's not affecting them. It's not hurting them. Right. So it's very, very, very important. And I think that the Black Room is a good way to make our voices heard. It's a good way to put it in your face. And it's like, you can't look away when you're running down the street in Amherst and you see a Jersey barrier and it says, Black Lives Matter, I can't breathe, inclusivity, like love for everyone. You can't ignore that. It's in your eyesight. And I think that's the importance of making it physical, because a mural, you can't look away from it, it's really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Nina, I'm curious, and I want to pull you into the conversation because you said something I think that a lot of people feel, which is having these realizations that things could be so bad for people in our society, in our world, and how we face that and really get into the conversation around that. And I think this idea with the Black Room of making sure that this stays in the daily conversation is so important. And I'm wondering how you feel you keep it present for yourself now that you have faced it and really allowed it in.
Yeah, I keep it present I talk about it a lot with my relatives, and I talk about it with these two
Yeah.
because before the formation of the Black Room, I have only, because like at my school, it's like predominantly white, and in my neighborhood, it's like the same. So I have only really been like surrounded, I haven't really been surrounded by that many like people of color or mixed or Black people.
Mm-hmm.
So this has given me like a new light, and I've like seen from other people's perspectives, and as I said earlier, I've been talking to my dad a lot because right now, like as they said, it's being seen as like a trend, but
Mm-hmm.
trends like after a while they die down, but
Right.
Black lives will always matter. So we have to make it so it's not a trend.
Yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yosola, do you want to add anything about the Black Lives Matter movement as a larger movement and really grounding it down to make sure that it's not trendy, that it's actually a shift in how we are as human beings together?
Yeah. So I can definitely relate to Nina. I go to a predominantly white school as well. You know, I don't see that many Black people at school. And I lived in Northampton for a really long time, actually. I lived there until last year. So that's a predominantly white neighborhood as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't surrounded by that many people of color or Black people. You know, I only had like Angela and some of her friends. But now that I live in Holyoke, you know, I get to see more Black people. I get to see more people who look like me. And I feel like that's something that I can definitely relate to. And, you know, it's you know, also talking about it with my other friends, like my friends who are white, like so they understand how we feel and how I feel. You know, it's something that everyone needs to know and that everyone should understand where they're coming from. And my friends have reached out to me and said, you know, I'm here, I'm an ally, you know, you can talk to me about anything that's happening. And I feel like that's the best thing that I could ask for. I'm glad that my friends have done that. But, you know, there have been some times where kids my age have crossed a line and they don't agree with it. And, you know, I don't know how to respond to that because I'm obviously Black. So I'm going to say, well, how do you not agree with that since that's my life you're talking about and other people's lives you're talking about? But it's been good to just talk about it. And if we just treat it like a trend, then like Nina said, it's going to die down. But if we keep talking about it and putting everything everywhere, then, you know, it's going to get recognized and get solved eventually. So I think that keep on doing what we're doing is, you know, something that's very good. And that's something that everyone needs to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've said that so well. And going back just quickly to what you're all talking about, you know, being aware of your mental health and your physical health. This is really what those things are for, is to make sure that you can keep going, because it can get tiring and it can get hard, but it sounds like you're finding ways and spaces to really keep the conversation going and find a way to keep the balance of energy in yourself so that you can show up to it, which is awesome. And I want to share, because I get to be over here on Facebook with everything that people are saying. So I'm going to share a couple of those things before I ask you another question, because you're getting so much. I mean, Amelia was saying you guys are so mature. Great job, women, enjoying this. Powerful. I hope this is being recorded. Faye, we will make sure. So impressed with these young ladies. Diversity and representation of visual elements. Yes. So impressed with all of you. The sky is the limit for all of you. And Amelia says how you're all working well together and bringing different talents to the table, which is the next thing I want to ask you about. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute. This is great. Ashley Flowers says, hello, great job, girls. Auntie Ashley says, hi from Ohio. Yosola, we are so very proud of you. There's a lot of yes, Nina, yes, Angela, to things that you're saying. So you'll have to go back and see where people are coming up with this. But just overwhelmingly folks feeling inspired by what you're doing. So I do want to ask about being in business and this question of, you know, what you're each kind of bringing to the table that makes you feel most inspired, and also what you're enjoying about being business owners. I know this is a new venture, you're a startup, but can you each take a minute and speak to what you feel like you personally bring to the table of your business together, and if you're enjoying it? Yeah, Angela.
Yeah, so I am, can you not please? So sorry. I am very, I'm very, 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 very passionate about these things.
Yeah.
And I have always been like that. I think that even before, I think that as women of color, all three of us have experienced our fair share of racism. We've all, it's so sad that that has to be the case, but I don't think that there's one person of color in America that you can ask them if they've experienced racism and the answer will be no. I think that that motivates all of us. And personally, I've experienced that kind of stuff at such a young age that my whole life, I've always felt like, why do I get treated like this? Why did this person say this thing to me that they wouldn't have said to someone else? And I think that's what really motivates me. And I also think another thing that I bring to the table, I'm very social media oriented. I'm very, promote. And I think that personally, like even in my personal like social medias, I do my best to put out really good content and to, get followers and stuff like that. And I think that that's really good for the business to have someone who
absolutely
is willing to promote, someone who's doing their best to make it widespread and to spread awareness about it and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yes, I love that. Yosola, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think that we all have our own way that makes our business. Like, like Angela said, she's very passionate. That makes, our business well known. Nina has her drawing, which makes our business also well known. We all each bring something special to the table that makes it special, and that our business is our business, and that we're proud of it, and that we're raising awareness for something that needs to be seen and needs to be heard and needs to be solved. And I think that all of us working together is very, very fun. It's definitely a great experience that I absolutely have loved so far. And I think that working with your friends I love working with my friends, and I definitely love working with Angela and Nina. They're just really fun to work with. But also when it's time to be serious, and talk about things, that we can be serious and talk about things. Like even just like, it's not just about how old we are. No matter how old we are, we should be able to talk about things like this, and that we shouldn't feel uncomfortable talking about race, because if you're not comfortable talking about race, then how's it going to get solved? So I think that doing what we're doing as best as we can is an equal part to the equation, which helps solve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's really, the three of you are taking ownership of that, and your business creating this gateway to conversation, and conversation being the anchor that makes something not trendy, but move it into the whole cultural zeitgeist and keep it there. You three are really driving that right now with the business that you have. And Nina, do you want to speak? Yosola mentioned your drawing. Is that right?
Yeah, we all planned it. It was mostly them who like came up with like the design and stuff. And then we made like a rough draft, and we like painted it. So then I took the rough draft and I did some digital art on my iPad.
Nice.
So I really like finalized it, and we came up with the other Jersey barrier, which was the LGBTQ flag with like the power fist. So I did those on like my iPad, I drew them out, and then the day of when we were painting them out, I just used that as a reference, and then we just started painting it.
That's so amazing. Yeah.
I think that Nina downplayed it a little bit. She is an amazing artist. Nina can draw.
Right, like Nina can draw so well. Like you are definitely like underplaying it. Like
yeah, she downplayed it. She can really
right,
draw.
like the girl with the afro, like we were not that good. And then Nina like drew this thing and it said I can't breathe, and we were all like, that's it's like stunning. 20 times better.
Yeah, Nina's art is like really, 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 really amazing, and I think that she downplays it a lot, and she needs to stop doing that because it's great. It's amazing. Yeah.
Nina, do you want to respond?
I don't think it's that good. I have friends who are like really good at drawing. I'm not like that good. I'm like decent. I can draw, but I'm not like a drawer. I'm not that good.
Honest. You're a bit.
I mean, this space right here is clearly a space where y'all are going to make sure that you not only know yourselves, but see each other through one another's eyes, right? So what I'm hearing, Nina, I appreciate your opinion of your own drawing and I understand it, but I think we have two opinions here that would counter it. And we'll just leave it at that. We don't need to go that much further, but this is rad that you all are really bringing these different elements to the table. I mean, I feel like the sort of lightning strike that happens when three people get brought together by circumstances. You all live in the area, right? You've met through different ways, and you just happen to have complementary skills, things to teach one another, and you're all three willing to be open to this journey of self-discovery, of being outspoken, of being in the conversation. I mean, that is not luck. That's not even the word that I want. That's something happening because you three are meant to be working together, which is just amazing. And it's really cool to hear all of this coming together in this conversation. And the entry point for people in your own lives, especially your friends, I think, to feel like they can reach out to you and be in the conversation with you is so valuable. And I'm curious who you three go to have that conversation in your own life, not just your friends, but are there leaders, parents, thought leaders that you look to keep you in the conversation and keep you inspired, maybe that other people can find on Instagram and also follow? Are there people that you want to kind of give a shout out to, either in your personal life or in the sort of larger conversation? And I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. So, yeah.
So I usually in my personal life, if I want to talk about something, that is to do with social inequality, social justice, stuff like that, I usually talk to Yosola, or I talk to my mom. I talk to, just other really strong Black women in my life, Black men. I think that for social media, there's a lot of TikTokers who touch, like a whole lot of TikTokers who touch on that kind of stuff. And I think that like if you go on TikTok and search up like Black Lives Matter or Black, you can find so much valuable information. So many people, teenagers like our age, making videos, giving us information and stuff like that. I know one guy that like I listen to and I watch a lot. His name is Alluring Skull. That's his username. Okay. And he puts a lot of powerful like information up, and I really love it. So I would say to go check them out.
Awesome. That's awesome. TikTok, right? When did TikTok become like the center of conversation? That's so cool. Yeah, Yosola.
For me, I actually go to Angela the most. Like she's she talks about it more than anything. So like,
Mhm.
but that's good. Like I love talking about it with her because she understands like where I'm coming from. I mean, my friends, like, yeah, like they get it, but you know, Angela and I have more of an understanding, better view of it because we're obviously Black. But yeah, so I go to her and I go to my mom sometimes. I talk to her about it and I'll be like, Mom, like, you know, I'll talk about it with her sometimes and just my whole family, really. So yeah, and then like social media, I don't really have anyone specific. I really just look at like my friends repost things and I'll be like, oh, that's good. So I'll like repost it, but I don't have like one specific person, I would say. It's more everyone, like all of my friends. One other person I would have is like one of my best friends' names. Her name is Kaylin. So she's very understanding of it, and she gets it more than like most of my friends do. So I go to her for other things too, but I don't really have anyone specific on social media. But TikTok, like Angela said, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's about it for me.
And Yosola, your mom just said that you all met in preschool. So you've known each other a really long time.
Yep. Angela and I went to preschool together when she was 2, when I was 3. And then Nina and I also met at the same preschool, and we were, well, she's a year older than me. So she was like 4 and I was like 3. So
nice. So the seeds of this business started really early, which is so cool. When did you all sort of start thinking about the business? Has it just been recently, or were there sort of, so it was recent. Nina, what kind of started it for you?
We all, like, I met up with them. We like reconnected pretty recently. I think it started because Yosola came over and like her dog came to play with my dog. And then after that, and then my mom was joking around because like my mom and her mom are friends and our dogs are friends and we're friends. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So after that, we started hanging out more. And then at the business dinner, I met Angela. And then after that, we've been hanging out pretty consistently.
That's awesome. So this business has really come right out of this time. It's like you had a foundation there, but this is a new direction for all of you. That's so awesome. That's just amazing. So we're getting close to time. I don't want to take up your whole days. I know you have precious little amounts of summer left. And I am not seeing other questions on here. I don't want to miss anybody. So I think, let's see. I feel like I have a big question, but I was just saying we're about to wrap up, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because one thing that I think is really important to mention sometimes is something that Angela, you brought up before we all jumped down here, which is counter protesting, which is people who are directly saying either they don't believe Black Lives Matter, they don't see the importance of it. They might be the people out there who are like, what is this business even for? We don't need this, we get it. How do you all, and I know this is a big thing to end on, but what do you take from that direct counter protest? How do you answer it? How do you make sure that you keep your strength up in the face of it sometimes? And are there other things you want to talk about counter protest? And Angela, I'll start with you because I know this is an important one for you.
So for me, I go to school in Hatfield. I go to school with all white. There's about like 2 other people of color in my school. It's a completely white school with a few Trump supporters, a few counter protesters, a few people who feel comfortable being white and saying the N-word. It's really sad. And it's like, All right, so specifically Black Lives Matter, right? The protest of Black Lives Matter comes in response to police brutality, comes in response to people being targeted because of their race, because they're Black, systemic racism and mass incarceration, and police officers coming into Black communities and beating Black, specifically Black men and women up, beating and arresting Black men and women, putting them in jail over things that white people can get away with quite easily.
Yeah.
I think that the counter protesting, as in all lives matter or blue lives matter, is like, okay, so if Black Lives Matter bothers you, but blue lives matter doesn't, which is the word that bothers you? It's Black. Black is what bothers you. Right. Because a blue uniform, you can take that off. Your skin color, you can't wash that off. It's pretty known everywhere. If I go out in public, you're gonna look at me and you're gonna say she's not white. It's pretty easy to tell. So I think that with counter protesting, it's not really people counter protesting to the cause itself. It's not people counter protesting Black Lives Matter. It's people counter protesting Black people and Black people claiming power and Black people wanting to have equality and being the same as everyone else. It's people saying, you're asking for too much and I don't like that. And most all lives matter people, if you ask them what they're really protesting, it's like, well, white people get killed by police. Okay, is it because they're white? Or is it, you know, it can be unjust. That's the thing about Black Lives Matter. No one is saying that Black Lives matter more. No one is saying that there's not inequality in other areas, because there is, absolutely. There's tons of white people who are shot by police or who are arrested, and it's unjust, and that's not right, and that should be fought for too. But Black people are disproportionately affected by this, and Black Lives Matter is so important to bring awareness to that.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing your passion to that answer. I really appreciate that honesty.
Also, just adding to that, oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh my god.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, it'll come back to me.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back.
This is a big topic, and I know that's why ending on it is a little rough, but it does open up and allow all of these things to flow in sometimes, which can be hard to stand up and respond to. But I appreciate the three of you holding space for this, because it is a big deal. And the business that you all run, these are the conversations that people are looking to you to weigh in on. And so it's so incredible to me that you're willing to just jump in there and have this conversation. And Yosola, interrupt me if it comes back to you. But I'm just going to respond to one thing Angela said, because I think it's really important, which is, and Angela, I'm curious if you feel this way as well, you know, as someone who is also involved in the protest and the movement and happens to be white. I also happen to be Jewish. So there are a lot of things that I identify with very closely. There are a couple of things. One, the sense that saying Black Lives Matter is somehow saying that others don't, and that misconception that people get into. And then also the response that I've also gotten in conversations about my Jewishness, which is, you know, oh, police also kill white people. And so to me, what that sends off is, right, and that's what we're saying, is police are a problem. So we agree. Are we agreeing here? And when you say that to people, sometimes they have a total like, oh, I guess we are agreeing. And I'm curious, you know, as you all, as business owners, as students, as people, when you find those moments with someone where you see their light bulb go off, how do you hold space and keep encouraging them towards you? Yes, I see you get it. Come in.
So what I was going to say is that I completely agree with you. And I think that even with this whole Black Lives Matter and all the awareness being spread, there's a lot about the specifically Jewish community that I didn't even know. Like, I was watching a doc on CNN and they were talking about how there's so much anti-Semitism. And it's like, I didn't know that people were still like that. And now I know that, like, it, you know, I had no idea. And now I know, and I've learned so much about like so many other races and other cultures. And it's so important right now. And yeah, it's amazing when you have those moments with people. I think specifically to me, I can think of a time when I was talking about like homophobia, and, you know, a lot of that can happen specifically in with someone who's a part of the Christian community I was having this conversation with, and they were explaining to me how, like, you know, they don't have an issue with gay people, but they feel that it's wrong because of their religion. And I think we started to talk about, and I said, well, you know, if you think about the other things that are wrong, if you think about, you know, getting tattoos and eating pork and eating shellfish and premarital sex, and it's like, so why is this more wrong than that? And they're like, you know what, like, you're right, why is that, you know? And I think that, like, when having these conversations is so important, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to change someone who's racist and someone who's a bigot. You're not going to change their opinion. But that one time is so worth all the other conversations, because when you get that moment of like, we're agreeing and you're seeing my side and I'm seeing your side, it's such like a beautiful moment. So that's really important.
Yes, absolutely. Yosola, did you remember what you wanted to say? I want to make sure I come back to you. Yeah,
I do. I remembered. It was also, the system was like created to be portrayed against us. Like like the system started a while ago, but it was literally made against people of color. So when you really think about it, the system has always really been against us in some sort of way. And I think that with people saying, like, who are saying, oh, ACAB doesn't mean all cops are bad, like ACAB is so wrong. Like, we're not saying all cops are horrible. We're saying that they're supporting a system that is horrible and that is wrong, and it needs to be changed in some way.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, go for it.
So one more thing I want to say, yes, Yosola, ACAB. I'm a strong ACAB believer. I think, you know, I don't think cops are bad people. I think that they stand for systemic racism, and working for that is not okay with me. Also, I wanted to, for everyone watching, the new Jim Crow is a great book. It's about mass incarceration, and I would highly suggest reading that if you want to do something and you want to educate yourself more. I think that is a really important book, and it gives a lot of crucial information, so it's really important, and I just wanted to shout that out.
I agree. Amazing book by Michelle Alexander. I'll make sure I put that in the Facebook post about this too, so people can find it. So many incredible resources right now. Nina, did you want to add anything about kind of encouraging people in the conversation?
Yeah, unlike Angela, I haven't had that time, like the 1 in 10 time that like the people have like an epiphany. That hasn't happened to me yet. Last time I was talking to someone about race, they just kind of ignored me, and then they kept on going with what they were saying and kind of just blatantly ignored me, which that
happened.
But you know, there's always next time I see him.
Right? It goes back to what we're saying about our mental and physical health and keeping it up so that we can meet that next time every time. And I think hopefully those epiphany moments happen in your conversations too, Nina, because they do help. It does help when there are moments that you see people have a breakthrough, even if it's a sliver through, even if it's not a full breakthrough. You know, they will happen, especially as you all keep going with your business, because I think there's a really wonderful thing. I mean, for me, one thing I value about my job in the Mill District and the space that we're creating is that business can sometimes create a space for conversation that feels more approachable, because other people feel like they're in a professional moment with you. And so they can be honest and they can show up to that conversation in a certain way. So I think the three of you starting a business around this and really putting some roots into it is just incredible, and creates a platform for conversation that is so crucial right now. So I commend all three of you for being willing to take that step, because it's a big step. Business ownership is a lot of work. And I think it sounds like you're starting carefully and mindfully and really making sure that you can keep it in the whole sphere of your life, which is incredible. We have Donna Honer put another great book is Prison Truth by William Drummond. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone in the comments, if you'd like to throw more titles in there that you've really appreciated, I'll throw one out there too. Right now I'm reading How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi, which is an amazing book. And one of the things that I really value about it is that he's coming from a place of including himself in the conversation and sharing his own humanity and his own moments of homophobia in his childhood, or his own moments where he judged people without knowing them. And so I've appreciated that. So please, everyone, feel free to throw some books in there, because people do go back and read the comments. They do go back and watch this interview for inspiration and different things. So we'll include all of that content on here. But I think this has been such an honor for me to have this conversation with the three of you. I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on here. I know you're in different spaces. Is there anything anyone wants to add before we close for the day? Because I want to make sure we get it all, as much as we can get into an hour. Yosola, do you want to add something?
Follow us on Instagram at the Black Room 2020.
Yes, at the Black Room 2020 on Instagram. That will also be on the Facebook. You can find them.
And our website, we are going to put that in our Instagram bio, so you can get to our website through our bio. So
I did it this morning. I got you. I did it this morning.
Love
yes,
it.
true.
Head of the curve. See, this is business ownership right here. Nina?
Oh yeah, I was about to say the same thing. So yeah, we have our email linked in our Instagram as well. So if you have any questions, or if you want to have us do a Black Room in your house,
yes,
or if you like own a business and want to have like a wall up or a Black Room in there, just give us an email.
Yes,
we got you.
That's so awesome. That's so rad. And thank all three of you for coming on. We lost Yosola, but I think she's there. This is so amazing. And I also, Black owned businesses in general, if you're out there, definitely hire the Black Room. And also Angela gave a great idea before we jumped on here. If you go on Instagram and you search tags for Black owned businesses, you can find Black owned businesses in every field. And that's a really great way as we're living in a capitalist society. Money, fortunately and unfortunately, is a way to support. So if you're looking for Black owned businesses, Instagram and Facebook, great ways to find people. Thank you three so much. Please
thank you for having us.
Yes. Thank you. I hope back to school is as smooth as it can be. And I hope the Black Room continues to be a successful venture, and I'm sure it will be.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye.
Great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.